Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to That's Football for PSG's trip to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich? Who's Bayern Munich? Bayern Munich. I was looking at Mbappe there. He looks serious, if he ever could look serious. How are we all doing anyway? And hope we're all doing very, very well. I'm looking forward to this game tonight. I think that PSG will struggle to get a result in Bayern Munich, having lost the first leg in Paris. No Neymar, as we know. But you know what? I think it's going to be an interesting game. I really, really do. Let's just sort a few things out just before we go. Okay, this is going to be a really easy show tonight. Finally, says Alpha Lopez. We're going to go straight through the team news, but as normal, the chat is just full of blocked comment, deleted. Oh my God, I presume we've got the same knobheads in the chat. Why do you even bother? Like, do you not just want to get involved in the chat? Like, you know, yesterday, somebody in the chat asked me what the top 5 places to visit in Europe. I said Stoke and other places, and it got 1.9 million views on my TikTok. So instead of getting yourself blocked, why don't you ask me a decent question, and your question could be one that gets seen by 2 million people on TikTok, instead of coming on here like a little virgin with a silly comment that will just get you blocked. I just don't really understand the psychology of the modern prats. It doesn't make any sense to me. But there we go. We're not going to acknowledge them, and they'll soon all be gone. And it's just, for me, I just think it's very sad, because I like to have a good conversation. Calhoun, you're not blocked. You're one of the few that aren't. But as I can see, there's plenty that are. Apparently Marquez couldn't warm up and struggled. I think he's injured. Let's go through the team news. So let me get the stats carousel running. Remember, we're sponsored by That's Football. You can download it for free. Get all your latest breaking football news and transfer news. There's the team news going round for you. It's downloaded for free on Apple and Android. I just realised I'm a little bit later than I wanted to be, but team news is coming through. Donnarumma's in goal for PSG. Hakimi, Danilo, Sergio Ramos, Marquinhos, Mendes, Fabian, Verratti, Vitina, and then Mbappe and Messi as the front two for them. Obviously, there is no Neymar, so that's why he's not playing. But we're just going to start here, which has caught me a little bit unawares, but apologies for that. I probably was a little bit late. Well, it is 7:59, Goldbridge. Get ready. I'll give you the Bayern Munich team in a minute, but I don't fancy PSG tonight. I was doing this, I did Thogden's preview, and he's obsessed with PSG and Messi, and he couldn't get his head around the fact that they're going to lose tonight, because he goes to bed in pyjamas with Messi on and dreams of Messi. But unfortunately, I mean, look, never, ever, 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 ever write off PSG and Messi. I mean, more importantly, always write PSG off, but don't ever write off Messi. He's a fantastic player, but I think this will be beyond them tonight, if I'm being honest. I think it's too much of a difficult game, and I've played the game. Right. Super chat coming in. Did you see what Danny Murphy said about Fernandes? I think it was utter crap, because he never asked one question when Maguire was on the pitch as the captain last season or the season, says Cameron. I haven't heard what Danny Murphy says. I sort of make a rule of avoiding what people like Danny Murphy say. If Danny Murphy said don't jump off a cliff, I'll jump off a cliff. That's how little I think of his bias. He just hates Man United. Mbappe's going to score a hat-trick, says Mohammed. Well, we'll hold you to that. We'll hold you to that. They need Mbappe and Messi to have a great game, really. They need that, PSG. For Bayern Munich, I wouldn't play for the 1-0 here. Too dangerous. You got to go for the win. Oh, that's weird. That's not. Oh, it's not working. Why is that not working there? I don't know. 1 minute, let me get this going. Shine bright like a diamond. Well, they're on the attack here, PSG, with Mbappe. He's gone a bit wide. Shot straight at Sommer. He went a little bit wide there, and I think when he goes wide, he's got to play the cross. But that's an encouraging start for PSG because, obviously, they've got a game playing here, and they could do with some chances. And they've got an early chance to break on Bayern, which for me is a positive because it shows you that Bayern want to play the game, get on the attack. Irvin said, "What happened with the United Stands evening show?" We'd already put 4 videos up today, mate, and I know it's somebody's style, but I really didn't feel that there was anything much more to talk about. We'd done the morning show, the press conference reaction, the training video. There was a morning show about Ivan Ferguson, and I just thought, you could have too much of a good thing. Hi Mark, what's your prediction? I think 3-0 for Bayern, says Kazuki. I'm going to go 2-0 to Bayern. Yeah, I hope we get a few goals. Mark, if you were a player, which club or clubs would you like to play for, excluding for Manchester United? If I couldn't play for Manchester United, then obviously I wouldn't really have a massive desire to play for any other English club. So if I couldn't play for Man United, I think I'd love to play for an Italian club. Lovely ball. Bayern on the attack. Here's Musiala. He might hit that, Good play. And goes out for a throw-in. So I'd probably like to play for... I'll tell you a story, actually. When I used to play computer games when I was, probably about 13, 14, I always used to edit the players, like on Sensible Soccer or Kickoff or something like that. I'd put myself up front for some shit team. I always used to do this. I'd put myself up front for some shit team, right, in England, and then I'd score a load of goals, and then I'd get a transfer abroad to someone like Sampdoria, and then I'd get signed by Sampdoria after a couple of seasons by United. Mark, that's my answer, Eddie. That's my answer there, really. If you put me in a Man City shirt, I'd probably score about 15 goals. Yeah. Has the Spurs game not started? Is anyone watching the Spurs game? I mean, God, I don't know what's going on here. I'm sure I had it. I'm sure I put the Spurs game on. I've got another screen going on, and I thought I'd put Spurs on. Try again. 10-minute delay. Starts at 10 past. What's going on with all these games? Chelsea was the same. Watched a bit of PSG in League One. Even if Messi and Mbappe show up, it'll be all about the defence holding strong. Their defence is horrendous, says Dan Kelly. Bus delays on at 10 past 8. Same thing happened last night. That's why it's not started yet then. Would you own Man United if they gave you the ownership, says Clap? Yep. Ollie says you could probably play in the MLS right now. And even Siegel says, I need PSG to win. Mbappe to score, to get one shot on target, and then I'll win 50k. Okay. If Bayern score first, then it will be a struggle for PSG, says Khalid. Well, it's a good game. It is a good game. It's got a really good speed to it, good intensity, end-to-end so far. I certainly don't think we're going to get a 0-0. Thanks for subscribing, Fal. He says, I'm a new subscriber. Nissy says, are Lampard over Gerrard a weird football opinion? Is Lampard over Gerrard a weird football opinion? No, not really. Chelsea fans think it. Any news about Messi leaving, says Michael Collins. I think there's a talk of him going to Chelsea or the MLS, isn't there? Not Chelsea, Barcelona. Are you going to have drinks with the fans after the Dublin show? Yes, I am, Stephen. I know the bar we're going to. I'm not going to tell you now. I missed my fix of United Stand tonight. No news, I presume, says Liam. Devon Red. Yeah, we just had too much content on the channel today, and I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to do a show for the hell of it. Basically, the show would have been about the sale, which really nothing's changed. He's going to go to Inter Miami, says that boy. What bar is it, says David. I'm not telling you what bar it is, because then people will know. It's for the people who turn up to the live shows. That's the fairest way of doing it. And it'll be the same in Manchester and the same in London. There will be a drinks venue after the do, but it will be disclosed on the night. Get the badge in, Mark, says Laz. I just threw this on, really. Where are you going for Paddy's Day, says Paddy? Work. We don't get it off over here. Hello supports Leicester. Do you prefer tea or coffee, says Nitin? Well, I've had one of both today. I normally play a little bit of a game because I do like tea and coffee, and at the end of the day, I tot up the scores. Sometimes coffee wins 3-1. Sometimes it's tea 4-0. Sometimes it's a boring 0-0. Today, I had one coffee. I definitely had 2 cups of tea. It's good for you. It's good for your memory as you get older as well. You've got to keep your brain active. Definitely had a coffee this morning. Definitely had a tea. Another tea. 3-1 tea against coffee today. Hi Mark. If we get the right, see, this would be more interesting in the title race. Just ask me every day who won today, tea or coffee. Hi Mark. If we get the right owners that decide to build a new stadium, would you accept a San Siro style deal with Man City during its construction? Well, I wouldn't like it, Rui, but I think we'd have to. Here's Bayern on the attack. Musiala doesn't get the pass right. I think if Man United have to rebuild Old Trafford and ground share, they can't really ground share with Stockport or the cricket ground. So there's only really one stadium that you could ground share with, but it'd be odd sharing it with City, I would admit that. Who would you rather have, Bellingham or Barella, says Khalid? I mean, I would rather have Bellingham, but the fact that he loves Liverpool, I'll go for Barella. Ramos playing, of course, for Bayern. I didn't give you the Bayern team, but it will be going around the screen. But I will read it out for you as well. So Bayern Munich line up with Sommer, Stanisic, Upamecano, De Ligt and Davies, Goretzka and Kimmich, Koeman, Müller, Musiala and Choupo-Moting. So no starting place for Gnabry or Sane or Mane. I mean, or Cancelo. Or well, obviously Gravenberch doesn't start, but I find that scary that Bayern Munich can put Sane, Mane and Gnabry on the bench, and most teams in Europe would kill to have any of them. Good teams in Europe as well. And you know, they're not playing Stoke, they're playing PSG. So just shows you that this is why I think Bayern Munich have got a good chance of going deep in this tournament. I used to think you were a bit of a knob, but after sitting on it, you're not a bad guy at all, says Paudy. Oh, thanks, mate. Means a lot. Spurs still haven't kicked off, and it's 10 past. I don't know why Mane's not starting. If anyone wants to tell me why they're not starting, I don't know. Yeah, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it, right? Yesterday, somebody did a super chat saying, I live in America, and what top 5 places would you go to in Europe? And I said, I just was being a bit sarcastic, and I said Swindon, Stoke, Hull, and 2 other places. Got clipped up on my TikTok page, and it's had 2 million views. It's amazing what shit people will watch on TikTok, isn't it? You never know. So get me some good questions in tonight. You never know. It could get clipped up. Cross from PSG goes for a corner. Do you give Liverpool chance next Tuesday against Madrid, says Etcham. I give Liverpool the same chance in Madrid of turning that around as I do Spurs winning the league. Or Phil Jones winning the Ballon d'Or. They got no chance. That's what they got. Oh, that was another cracker from Thogden. He said to us yesterday, I really think there's a chance that Liverpool, if they score first, can get back in it at the Bernabeu. Is he having a laugh? Is he having a laugh? Sardio's been injured. They haven't got a chance. I mean, Liverpool are a good team, but look, as much as I like to take the piss out of La Liga, they ain't gonna. There's one team that I think in the Champions League just know what they're doing. What has Mrs. Goldbridge got for Women's Day? Says Luke Fenton. Well, she gets to wake up this morning with me. It doesn't get much better than that. As I said, cup of tea 3, coffee 1. Every time I made a cup of tea, I asked if she wanted one. I'm going to take her out for dinner actually on Friday. Will Pickford stay as England's number 1 if Everton get relegated? He shouldn't be England's number 1 now, Rob. I've never been a big fan of Pickford. If I was starving hungry and Pickford was a packet of crunchy creams and that was all there was in the cupboard, I'd stay hungry. Just don't trust him, and I don't trust crunchy creams. Basically, crunchy creams are like custard creams, but they've got like crunchy biscuit around it. I just don't like them. They're terrible for dipping in your tea as well. Oh, lovely ball into Mbappe, but Sommer's done well. That's a foul. Yeah. Never trust a biscuit that you can't dip in a cup of tea. And never trust a goalkeeper with small arms. One of the anonymous bids for United is Mike Ashley. No, it's not, Christian. And will Pickford stay as England's number 1 if Everton get relegated, says Rob Morrison. We've just done that one. Big shout out to MKF, one of our new mods. That's the clip. I don't know what's the clip. I'm just answering questions. What's your regular order from the Chinese, says Ricey Boy. Funnily enough, I do have egg fried rice. And I do have... one of the secret bids for Manchester United is a hedge fund from America. I'll guarantee it. And the other one is Anton Deck. You heard it here first. Mark, who do you like more, Notts County or Notts Forest? Look, people are obsessed about this Nottingham thing with me. I left Nottingham when I was about 17 and I've never really been back. So over half of my life, over half of my life, easy. And I never lived in Nottingham anyway. I lived closer to Leicester than Nottingham. I lived 2 miles away from the Leicestershire border. I'm rural Bridge. You know, people talk about city life and, you know, knife crime and getting robbed and mugged. I had more concerns about barbed wire and getting banged by a cow. I mean, a bull. And I don't mean in a sex way. I mean like actually getting rammed by a bull. Again, not in a sex way. So I'm from a rural town. I'm very popular with farmers. They're like, if Goldbridge can be on Talk Sport, so can we. Abhijit says that Mbappe and Messi don't track back at all. No. If Messi and Mbappe were your mates on a night out, they ain't never going to the bar and buying a round. They're too good for that. If they said it's your round, Messi, he'd say, look at me. I'm the life and soul of the party. I've got the best chats. I'm the best wingman. I ain't buying the drinks, and you know it. They ain't tracking back. In fact, Messi never ever come to the Premier League because the first thing they'll do, because you haven't got a British passport, they'll say, I'm telling you now, he doesn't track back. He'll never work in the Premier League. Compared to past jobs, is YouTube the most stressful, says Jakey? It's the most tiring, yeah. It's the most rewarding. Not just financially, but I enjoy the banter. Me, you, shot of whiskey after the Dublin show, says Stephen Delaney. Ooh, yeah. Well, look, let me watch the barman pour the whiskey. You're not handing. I'd never ever accept a drink that you haven't seen the barman pour. And that's a good message on not just National Women's Day, but for men as well. Like that's a serious thing. Don't ever accept a drink from anybody that you haven't seen the barman pour. I mean, if you're at home and your mum's made you a cup of tea, you don't need to worry about it. I'm talking about these things that You know, is it Rohypnol and stuff? I mean, your mum's never going to put that in your cup of tea. If you do, you've got bigger problems. But if you're out on a night out, never, ever accept a drink, especially not a stranger, without seeing the barman pour it. And I'm not saying Stephen Delaney's going to lace my whiskey with Rohypnol. I mean, that's a big accusation. But here's Hakimi coming down the right-hand side, which was ill-timed, if you've heard the news. But it's stranger danger, says Ron. Ryan Butcher says, what if your dad does it? Same thing. Excuse me. I'm getting a bit of a cold. Goldbridge. No word of a lie, I'll guarantee people will laugh about this, but it's true. I was on a night out in Birmingham with 4 friends. Mrs. Goldbridge, I think she wasn't Mrs. Goldbridge at the time, so there was no incentive for her, but she'd already hooked me. And then 2 other friends who were, you know, they weren't what I'd define as sex people. They were in a happy relationship. So they had no motivate. None of those 3 had a motivation to spike my drink. Anyway, it's only my 2nd pint, and I might be a bit of a lightweight sometimes, but I can definitely drink 2 pints. 2nd pint, go to the toilet, come back, I said, I don't feel well. I said, take me home quickly. And I said, don't get the wrong idea. I don't mean about anything like that. And I felt absolutely dreadful. And it was the drink that had done it. I didn't know who I was. And I felt all... I mean, why somebody'd want to spike my drink? But I suppose even depressed people get horny. But, yeah, I'm convinced that night somebody did something to my drink. Either that or they tried to poison me. Nice ball into Mbappe. Heavy touch. Very wide. Goes for the shot again. He'll shoot from anywhere, Mbappe, won't he? He's a bit of a... Well, he's a very, very good player. Lil Chris. Mbappe is fast. Slow Sports News. Mbappe for PSG. Breaking sports news. Mbappe. PSG is fast. Simon, what do you think about that? It was the guys from Dublin who you were running from, says Dave. Did anyone else get that recommended to them today? I logged onto YouTube today, and that video got recommended to me. It's years old. Goldbridge fight in Dublin with when I went on the Jackmate podcast. That literally got recommended to me today. I don't know why. 4 people have said they got it. What? How does YouTube work? How does it work? So there's a few people who've had it. I don't get how that works. Why would they recommend that? Maybe because we're going to Dublin in a couple of weeks. Maybe YouTube's that clever. I don't even watch the Happy Hour podcast. I only went on it as a favour. It's rubbish. That's a joke. Jack would appreciate that joke as well. He likes sarcastic stuff. DC says, I can't watch PSG versus Bayern. I don't know whether that's because he's poor and he hasn't got BT, or because he's just nervous and he can't watch it in case Messi loses. Why are you going to Dublin, Mark? Just Sean86. We're going on tour. We're doing 2 nights in Dublin, which are sold out, so I can't get you tickets. And then we're doing Manchester, where I've got Ben Foster coming on, and then we're doing London as well. Good. If you want to come, you're welcome. It won't be... HL says it's because the video is viral on TikTok. Oh, why? What happened? Nice ball. I tell you what, Thogden, don't get excited, but PSG could do this. I wouldn't say they're in the ascendancy, but they're more in it than I thought they would. I'm going to the pub after every night, yeah. Stuff with drinks is terrifying. Has happened to me and a mate before. He passed out and had his watch stolen, and I had to be carried home, says Potato Man. Worst places on holiday. Be careful. Seriously, do be careful with drinks. 1, how much you drink. Because when you're gone, you're gone. And I don't mean dead. I mean that you are gone then as well, unless you believe in the afterlife. And but when you've gone past the point of return with drink, you ain't coming back for a while, and then you're out of control. Bushan has just done his first ever super chat. Will you take Mbappe at United? If yes, then how will it work as Rashford similar style? I don't think they would. I think you make a very good point, Bushan. I don't think they would work in the same team, but you couldn't refuse Mbappe. He's probably the best player in the world, but they wouldn't. I don't think they would work in the same team. Hi Mark, what do you think of Liao, and what Premier League club do you see him at? Maybe City, Chelsea, or United? So it's Cooking with Goldbridge. I actually always saw. I always saw Liao as a Chelsea player, but I don't anymore. And I always saw Vardiel as a Chelsea player, but I don't anymore because they bought so many centre-backs and so many wingers. I can't see how that will happen. So I don't really see him as a Man City player. I don't think United would go for him now. I don't think Liverpool need another winger. So maybe Arsenal or Spurs, really. Ben Priest says it's because Jack Mate promoted it, probably knowing you're currently viral after the weekend's result. They need to get me back on the... Well, it's up to them, but it'd be good to go back on the happy hour. I haven't been on it for ages. They got me on 2 or 3 times in the first year, and now I've not been on it for about 3 years. I think I get the message. Do you like the idea of hostels, says Philip? No. No, if I go in a hotel, if I can afford it, I'll get the best I can. I don't mean the best hotel, but you know, like when you're in a hotel and you can get a room that's got a little bit more space in it, or a king size bed, and that's not through wealth. I'm not saying I'm well off, but like even when I was not well off, I'd always pay for the seats where you get a little bit more space. I like a bit of comfort, you know. I could see Liao at Spurs, but I don't know whether they can afford it. Morgan Jones likes the Premier Inn Plus rooms. You've got to be careful in those hotels. I'll tell you why in a minute. But here's PSG. Oh, what a tackle. Sommer. Messi. Sommer. Oh, I tell you what. Pisshead G. He sounds like a mate who's drunk. Pisshead G. PSG are... they're playing quite well, you know. Bayern need to get themselves going here because it's a very 50-50 game, and that's a good cross, but Ramos does well. PSG are playing well. They're playing well. I played the game. Coming back. Pisshead G. Joe says, why is Hakimi playing after the recent allegations? Don't know. I've not followed it. Can't really give any saying that. London South Side, you're not blocked. And Mark, whether a striker like Osimhen or Kane's join Man United, don't you think they will just end up in the graveyard shift as previous Man United strikers, says Eddie? Are you staying in a hotel when you're in Dublin? Well, I'm not telling you which one I'm staying in, so you can set fireworks off and keep me up all night, so I'm tired. Cameron Neville says, ever been to Cornwall? Loads of times. Loads of times. In fact, that picture of me that I always use to people who say you're a Forest fan when I was about 10 in a United kit, that was in Cornwall. On the rocks. So we've had 26 minutes here, and it's actually been a very good game. Let's have a look at the stats, actually. Remember, the Stats Carousel is sponsored by OneFootball. You can download it for free. Links in the description, or scan the QR code. Get all your latest breaking football news and transfer news, but also it individualises the stats. So if you want to see how many pass completions Messi's made, or how many shots Mbappe's made, or how many tackles Kimmich has made, check it out on the app. It's free to download on Apple and Android. But let's have a little look at the stats here. So as you can see, better possession for PSG, but only one shot on target. Actually, PSG stats look a little bit... Oh no, that's Bayern stats. PSG stats look all right. Yeah. They've started off with the more intensity. Well, they've got to, haven't they? PSG should not be going out in the last 16, but neither should Bayern. Why do you have to be careful in a Premier Inn, Mark? Says Reggett. Well, I'm not saying it's the Premier Inn, but when I used to work in Birmingham City Centre in a previous job, what certain hotels used to do, budget hotels, and I don't know whether Premier Inn do it, but what certain hotels used to do is because they had because the government had a shortage of halfway houses, they used to put people up in them in hotels, and those people would be people who needed somewhere to live, who'd recently been released from prison. It wouldn't happen at the Hilton. I wouldn't worry about it there. And it definitely wasn't a Premier Inn. It was a travel lodge. No, it wasn't. I don't think it was a travel lodge. It was on the Bristol Road, just as you came out of the city centre on the right, just past the Pagoda roundabout. Bayern have really struggled to get Nagelsmann tactics in game. Should not be struggling in the league and Champions League with their squad, says Max. They've not started off that well, Bayern, actually. They were better in the away leg. Do you have any plans of coming to Australia, says Ivan? I'd love to. Love to. Jack says no FIFA today. No, it's back tomorrow. It's a new season, isn't it? So I was going to do it. And it was 3:30. I was just about to load it up. And then I was like, well, I've got all the pre-season to do as well. So I was just like, look, start tomorrow. Start as you mean to go on and start tomorrow. 0-0 Spurs and Milan, by the way. They've been going for 17 minutes. I have got it on. Remember, they only need one goal, PSG, and it's game on. What do you think about the reports of De Gea and Ten Hag by Rob Dawson? Which keeper would you buy? I would keep De Gea, but I trust Ten Hag, says DK. I don't believe it. I don't believe anything about De Gea being got rid of, to be honest with you, because I know for a fact he's going to sign a new contract, and I know that United haven't got loads to spend, and they need a really good midfielder, a really good. They're not going to spend £60 million on a goalkeeper. They won't even spend £50 million on a goalkeeper. So everyone who's talking about Costa and stuff like that, I can't see it happening. If it did happen, like you say, I back the manager, but I don't think it's going to happen. Do you have any plans of coming to Bristol, Mark, says Yazza? Not really. I'm a bit like Premier League football. I don't visit Bristol. Oh, God, I'm really giving it out to some cities to the last couple of nights. That's getting clipped. I'll do a better version. Any plans of going to Bristol, Mark? Nah, I'm like Premier League football. I never visit Bristol. That was a cleaner one. I should be an actor. Mark, will you ever come to Croatia so we can watch Dynamo? Would be dream come true for me, says Kazuki. I actually am working on a bit of something to do stuff like that, so could be. Philip says scary paranormal experiences, Mark. Well, Anfield on bloody Sunday is about the scariest I've been for a while. Breaking news, Goldbridge single-handedly tanking the Premier League stocks lawsuit in Cummings is bigger. It wasn't the Premier Inn. And Roddy Peckering. I'm just saying, be careful with budget hotels because you never know what's going to be in it. A lot of people use cheap hotels for extramarital meetings, if you know what I mean. And sometimes it's not with the. Sometimes it's more than one. Sex people, Lynn. Mark, are you going to the possible US tour Manchester United are going on? Says White. Yes. Who's better this season on form, Saka or Rashford? I mean, I'd love to do a poll on that, but any poll I do with United, United tend to win. But I think that's a very good question, and I think that the answer is it's very hard to split them because I think they've both been brilliant. Mark, did you go to sixth form or college? Don't talk to me about my education, Finlay. I have an education in life. My education is a shambles because I spent too long thinking I was going to be a professional footballer. And I didn't have anybody to tell me that was never going to happen. Patrick says, what are your thoughts on Tamworth FC getting promoted from Southern Central with 8 games left and 6 points clear? My honest thoughts on that, Patrick, are the same thoughts of the person next door watching EastEnders while I'm watching this. I've got no care, really. But now you've informed me of it, I will be polite and say, if you care about it, well done. But I had no... It's not been on my radar. Still 0-0 here. Good game, good game. Do you know what that is behind my head? There, where my finger is. Can anyone guess what that is there? You hear what Ten Hag said about... No, Harry, that's rubbish. I'm never going to read that. Sis, thank you very much. It's a VR headset. You're right. It's not mine. I wanted to change something in the background, so I put that there. I can't use them. I get bad headaches. Are you planning on having United Stand show in Norway, says Elias? I think I get booed because you're all pro Ollie, aren't you? And because I said Ollie out, I don't think I'm very popular in Norway. Hello, Mark. I think Saka is more complete as a winger, to be fair, says Mohammed. Well, the great thing about Saka and Rashford is that you can honestly appreciate both. And you could have both in the same team. And I think you could argue that Rashford and Saka should be the starting wingers for England. Problem is, Southgate's a prat. Shibo says, I placed a bet on Spurs not having 2 shots on target in the first half. Whoever said about Marquinhos being injured, he's definitely injured now, and it looks like he's going to come off. Prediction for Man United game on Thursday, says Dongle. Tomorrow, 3-0. Mark, how does 15k extra seat at Old Trafford bring in 100 million? If a season ticket is £1,000, it would bring 15 million a year extra revenue, says Zane. I need to look at that. I was going to do that on the 7 o'clock show tonight. It's not 1-0. What are you expecting from Chelsea-Leicester this Saturday, Mark? I think that could be I think I might do that as a watch-along. I think that might be an interesting game because Chelsea need to follow that up with a win, but Leicester are in a terrible run of form. The yo-yo club. If you had to pick one team to win the Champions League, who would you choose, says the Don. I've already picked Bayern. And we lost 7-0 because Southgate touched Eric Ten Hag's arm, says Lee Berman. Are you going to have a stretch, said ZK. I am. You're right. Hey, I should have grabbed hold of my ball. The champions! Missed an opportunity there. I got my Champions League ball here. And then I got my Europa League ball here. The FA Cup ball there. I'm trying to think about what ball I haven't got. I've got my FA Cup ball over there, look. There. Premier League, Champions League, Europa League, Carabao Cup. We haven't got the Carabao Cup. What do you think of Burnley's season and how do you think we will do in the Premier League? Plus you think we have a chance against City in the Cup, says Dylan. You got no chance in the Cup against Man City, but I think you'll be a decent Premier League side next year. Give Company a bit of money and a year, and I think he'll keep you up. I can see Burnley being a mid-table team next season. Good cross in by PSG, but Bayern clear. Hamish, if you're ever in Wimbledon, I recommend going to watch Wimbledon. I was in Wimbledon last summer. Dougie says, have you got a Conference League ball? Who does the Conference League ball? There's a question for you. Who does the Conference League ball? Oh my God. Sommer. What a clearance off the line. Well, I tell you what, it should be 1-0 to PSG. De Ligt's just cleared it off the line. What's Sommer doing? He's like a Wish version of Messi. He's trying to dribble it out from the back. And I think PSG might have had a case for a penalty, really, because he did get kicked as he kicked it. But we haven't seen the replay yet. But PSG, for me, have probably done enough to be in front here. Umbro apparently do the Conference League ball. I was going to say Poundland. Still 0-0 between Spurs and Milan. We haven't seen the replay yet. It was a good stop by De Ligt, but I thought that the PSG player got kicked as he hit it. Now, we're probably going to see it now. Sommer, what a prat, tries to dribble it out. Oh, it's a good clearance by De Ligt. No, he rode the tackle, to be fair. And then De Ligt's there to clear it. Look at him celebrating it as well. Celebrating his own stop on the line. Norwich always dominated in Burnley style in the Championship and would struggle in the Prem. They will probably go back down, but I hope not, says Jack. And Kazuki, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. You're all very welcome on That's Football. Get involved. Free to do. Subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Steen says, I'm Norwegian and I'll be Ollie in forever. Random question. Who do you think will be a star in the future out of these three? Makuku, Endrick or Nonto? I do like Nonto, DK, but if I had to go between those three, I think Endrick, yeah. How the hell are you, says Rudolph the Red. I'm good, I hope you're doing well. Why would you not reply to my chat, says Shaunik. I don't know, I didn't see it. I saw that one, though. You should have said, why would you not reply to my chat? It was this. Thoughts on Darwin Nunez, says Dean. I can't joke about Nunez because, again, that was one of Goldbridge's hot takes. I've had more hot takes than Greg's. I said stick with Arteta when everyone said sack him. I said Nunez would be a success, and he has been. Gakpo, I said he'll be a success, and he has been. And I've said that Potter will turn it around, and he's not done it yet, but he's starting to do it. Goldbridge hot takes, more hot, sponsored by Greg's. There you go. Greg's, sponsor me. Come on. Example, if the average United ticket price is £100, says CTW, 15,000 extra seats would be 1.5 million extra per home game. And they probably play about 25 home games a season. So, yeah, you're talking about another 40 million, aren't you? I mean, I really don't care. Mark, at least you knew you were not good enough to be a professional, but at least you tried. Yeah, I disagree with that attitude. I know you're trying to be nice, but if I had a child that was going on at 14 about being a professional football, I'd take them down the park, watch them play, and if I knew they weren't good enough, I'd just tell them. I wouldn't let them waste the next 2 years of their life not studying for GCSEs. It's child abuse, really. Yeah, somebody should have told me. I mean, I was good, but I don't think I was ever. I know why I didn't make it as a professional footballer, because I didn't have the confidence that you've got to have. You've got to be a shithouse, basically. You've got to be arrogant, up your own arse, and believe in yourself from a very young age to make it through all the academies and trials, because everybody else is like that. And if you're a shrinking violet or polite, you'll get trodden all over. So, you know, if you are thinking about being a professional footballer, work on being a bit of a big time Charlie, believe in yourself and work hard. That would be my advice. The opportunity won't knock on the door for you. You've got to open the door and go and find it. Mark, what brand shoe is that on your shelf? Nike, baby. Mark, I watched Nonto last year for Zurich, as I'm an FC Zurich fan. That guy is the next big player who played in the Swiss League after Salah for Basel, says DK. Isa, thanks very much for your super chat. Have you had your daily sneak, says Jack. I haven't had my sneak today, you know, because I didn't do FIFA. I'll have a big one tomorrow on the old FIFA stream. What is Seb any good at football? I mean, thankfully, I don't spend a lot of time down the park watching 5-year-olds. But Seb plays football with me quite a lot, and it's hard to gauge it, isn't it? Because I don't know how good 5-year-olds are, but he dribbles around with the ball. He can use his left foot. He doesn't pick the ball up. He'll roll it. You know, I think that's always a big thing. I said that to him when he was young. Don't pick the ball up. You know, if it's in a difficult place, like in the rose bush or, you know, near a dog's mouth, I'll say, don't pick the ball up. Roll it with your foot. It's a football. It's not a handball. If you want to use your hands, go and play netball. And if you do play no. So yeah, I mean, he's all right. He's got a good shot on him, right foot. But I don't know. I mean, kids, the Mbappe project is there every Saturday, isn't it? With some people, I just see really miserable kids walk into the park with their dads who've got big bags of cones and drills and that, and the kids there like, I want to be at home playing Roblox. I think the Mbappe project is quite cruel, actually. I think about football when I was growing up, and we just wanted to play football every minute of every day. We loved football, and we weren't doing drills. Our drills was, you know, jumpers for goalposts and Wembley, or headers and volleys. I'm not going down the. I tell you what, if my granddad just said, go and learn how to do this, go and do that in your own time. Go and kick a ball against the wall with your weak foot and then control it. If he took me down the park and said, first cone and back, second cone and back, now do this, I'd be like, piss off. I ain't doing that. I absolutely despise any. I don't agree with pushy parents when it comes to sport, because they're doing it for that. They want them to be brilliant at something. So it's like investing £100 in a long-term ISA, isn't it? You know, I drive you around here. I've got you the best boots. Get in the garden. I'm like, nah, I don't agree with that. Kid, especially when you're growing up, if you want to play FIFA or you want to go on a bike ride, let them do it, because they'll become better players. You've got to be passionate about something, naturally passionate. Don't force them to do things they don't want to do. In fact, I know I was talking to somebody down the pub the other day, and their daughter is going out with a lad who's like 15, and his daughter's 15. The lad is really, really good at golf. Like, really good at golf. I think he's one of the top. I think he's ranked in the top 20 15-year-olds in the country. If you go and look at that now, you're going to figure out who it is. Well, you'll know one of 20. Anyway, he's just knocked it on the head. He said, I don't want to do it anymore. And the parents aren't happy because they think it's to do with the girl, which it probably is, knowing 15-year-old, what I was like at 15. But ultimately, he was saying down the pub, he said, but they get him up at like 5 o'clock in the summer to go and have a round of golf before school. That's not natural, is it? You know, you've got to have a passion to do something. Mark, where's the next holiday, says the Football 212. I don't know. I want to have a holiday this summer. I don't know where to go. It's snowing in Newcastle. Check out my Insta. Check out my Instagram. It's been snowing here in the Midlands. Never snows here. I don't know if it's like that in the UK, but here in the US, it's like some parents who played football live their childhood through their kids and push the Mbappe project. Kyle, it's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. It's half time. It's 0-0 in, I nearly said Paris, in Bayern, in Munich. It's 0-0 here. PSG have played very, very well, but it's 0-0. And it's also 0-0 between Spurs and Milan. We'll keep an eye on that one now because there's still 10 minutes to go in that, but it's still 0-0 there. Yes, I didn't want to say it, but I think you're right. I think a lot of these Mbappe projects are parents trying to relive their youth through them. I used to go out with a girl years ago when I was about 18, and her, you know, would have house parties, and the dad would go out down the pub, and the mum really should have gone with him, or you know, gone in a room and watched Coronation Street, and she'd come down and sort of like hang around with everybody else. I thought it was a bit weird. I thought, one, she's either trying to relive her youth, or two, she's a cougar. Either way, I'm staying away, and don't pour me a drink. See how I can bring a joke from the start right the way back in? That's proper layered comedy, that is. What do you think Liverpool? Do you think Liverpool will finish top four? Dean, I've been saying it all along. I've been saying it for weeks and weeks, and I don't want Liverpool to get top four, but I did say that they would get that. Opinions on Lincoln, Mark, says Default Skin. God, I can't believe what my brain was going to say then. I keep thinking I'm on tour in a safe place. You're not. I was going to say Lincoln's quite flat, and I was going to say it's flat like something, which would have been very inappropriate. But I would have got away with it on the tour. People would have gone, ooh, that's a bit bawdy, but I love it. But not on social media. It's a bit flat, Lincoln, but it's got a lovely cathedral. In fact, Lincoln Cathedral, when I was 13 years of age, I was about 9. I was probably about 10. It matters not. Well, it sort of does, because my voice was very good, and something happens between 10 and 13 that tends to make your voice change. I had the voice of an angel until gravity kicked in, and I sang a solo at Lincoln Cathedral for my school. And they still talk about it now. Yeah, it was. I can't remember what the song was. I mean, it wasn't Rick Astley. It was religious. It's a church. I think I'm tempted to say it was Morning Has Broken, but I'll tell you what. A couple of years later, gravity hit and something did break. But no, Lincoln's all right. What's the closest stadium you live near? Says DJ. I'd say it's probably Coventry or Villa. It's hard to know where I live because there's two ways into Birmingham. There's through like Acocks Green and everything. You can get to the Blues ground, or you can get on the motorway and you can hit Aston Villa quite quick. By the way the crow flies, I don't know. It'll be one of those three. Solihull Moors isn't a stadium. I wouldn't call it a stadium. You couldn't have a rock concert there unless you're Ollie Murs. You'd have to have a really low attendance. In fact, Ollie Murs is on tour at Solihull Moors next month. Ian Hooper. I can't believe he's been picked for... Oh, you've got me on something now. You know, I don't know whether you've seen it. Soccer Aid has been announced, yeah? I can't... Oh, I will still say it. I don't know whether they've announced this thing I'm about to announce, so I can't really do it. But I know the person who's the goalkeeping coach, right? He should be in goal. You know who's in goal? David James. I mean, nothing against David James, but it's the same problem with Soccer Aid. Ollie Murs, I bet Lee Mack's playing again. I bet Damian Lewis is playing again. I bet... let's all guess who Soccer Aid will have picked again. It'll be the same old people as it is every bloody year. Every year it's the same people. I'm not saying they should pick me. I mean, look, if they want to raise money, you should. But at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We're there to raise money. Stop picking your mates and pick people that are going to get... Mark Wright will be playing again. It's jobs for the boys. they'll raise some money, but if you pick certain people, you'll raise more money. It's for a great... Ollie Murs will be there. I mean, I'd love... What's that song he sings? Trouble, troublemaker. I'll show you trouble. 2-footed. I'd have to play for the rest of the world, though. I'd gladly play for the rest of the world to play against some of those English players. Oh, English... In fact, I would play for the rest of the world because I can't stand the English bias. So, even though I'm English, I'd be sliding into tackles like a tractor ploughing a field. Those studs are... No. What cities will United go to in the USA tour? Well, we're definitely going LA, Vegas and San Diego. So we know we're going West Coast, but I don't know what we're doing on the East Coast. What's your favourite sports movie, Mark? Moneyball or Warrior for me, says Charlie Masters. Escape to Victory. I'll tell you what. Somebody said to me this last night. That's football. Watchalongs are a gold mine for good conversation. United Stand, we don't get anywhere near as much good conversation and chat because it's too tense. Like we're getting battered most, But that's football. Watchalongs are brilliant. You probably got enough content in here for about 20 viral clips on TikTok, 2 or 3 podcasts. It's a hidden gem. But you serve them up, and I just volley them in. It's assists. It's finishing and assists. I can't take the credit. It's teamwork makes the dream work. It's a hidden gem. That's football watch-along. Did you know that Pyramid in Egypt held the record for tallest building until the Lincoln Cathedral was completed in 1072? Says Big Ash. I mean, Ash, I'd already given Lincoln its claim to fame. You've ruined it now. Lincoln's claim to fame is that I did a solo in there when I was 10. That's your claim to fame. Get the plaque up. Get one of those round blue circle things. You know them. Get one of them metal blue things. Just spray it blue and write it in a marker pen. Goldbridge sang "Morning Is Broken" here when he was 10, and flooded Lincoln because so many people were crying with joy. Don't come back at me with we had the tallest building in 1072 until the pyramids were built. History Channel. Could you get Sean Dyche to manage in Soccer Aid and you as assistants as I guarantee the managers for Soccer Aid, as I call it Shocker Aid, because it's shocking that they keep picking the same people every year. I mean, some of these people haven't been celebrities for about a decade and they still get picked. I'm trying to... you know what? I can't even name them because they're not even popular anymore. And I just want them to raise more money. Do you think Tonali would be a good backup long-term replacement for Casemiro? I don't know, Tricky Reds. I like Tonali, but has he pushed on enough? Harry Redknapp will definitely be managing at Soccer Aid. Yeah. Usain Bolt will be playing, yeah. I mean, to be fair to Usain Bolt, he's a legend, but he hasn't been on a run for years. Why not get another runner on? I'd rather get a runner from bloody BT Sports who's gets the drinks. Like has-beens shouldn't be getting airtime over Gunnabys. I'd love to see you play against Gary Neville, says Leroy Cooper. Oh, you know what? I'll tell you for a fact. If I played against Gary Neville, I'd purposely go on the left wing. He would try and 2-foot me. The problem is he'd have a face like a strawberry because he'd be desperately trying to catch me up. And as he slid in, I'd just jump it. He's a brilliant footballer. He's a legend of Manchester United. But he'd have to catch me first. If he did catch me, if I was like too busy waving for a selfie, he'd snap me in two. He would. I can tell. I can see it in his eyes. I'll tell you what though, I'd love to play against Gary Neville because I tell you what, one thing I am, he might call me stupid, but I would try and megs him. I'd like to have a run at him. He'd tackle me easy and probably stud me and break my leg, but I'd have a go. I'd be like that stupid deer who says, dare me to go and kick the line up the arse. You know, I'd have a go. Suggest a team to manage in FM23, not Man United. If I'm playing Football Manager, Luna, always start in the... I think it's the most enjoyable game if you start in the lower leagues. I love Football Manager. I mean, we did a series on Twitch. I love Football Manager when you... I mean, God, you know, the thing is, it doesn't get spoken about enough. I took over Solihull Moors on Football Manager 23 and got us promoted with... You shouldn't get promoted with Solihull Moors. Like, not through the playoffs, got us promoted. I've still got that save, actually. I need to continue it. Up the Bromley, says James Cooper. But yeah, it's a cracking game if you start off. I don't like playing Football Manager with Premier League clubs. It feels like you have to start off with a low club. I'm not Italian. It's Plan B says, I prefer United stand, more focused, watch along. Oh. I mean, I love a United stand, and I am obviously the main person on it, but get a life. Chill out. That's like saying, I like sex, but only missionary. You know, that's football is... We're not going to go down that road, but it's a bit of a laugh. You know, nobody supports PSG or Bayern here. Probably Daryl from Norwich. You know, he's binned Barcelona off now. They've been beaten in the Europa League, so he's moved on to PSG. But yeah, this is consuming football because you want to watch it. But it's like having a chat with the lads, isn't it? And the ladies. They can be funny too sometimes. It is National Women's Day, but they're very welcome on the stream. Yeah, that's what football's all about. It's just watching a game of football whilst having a chat about stuff. I mean, I used to go down the pub quite a lot with the lads. Never would you get the drinks in and somebody sit there and go, shh. For the next 90 minutes, we're watching PSG against Bayern. I know we live in rural England, in the Midlands, but I'm very interested in this game and I will not talk about anything else other than high lines and playing balls over the top and shots on target. Nah, you'd be there eating your scampi fries, talking about who might, yeah, you know what I mean. Talking about the cows getting out. In Football Manager 23 in the Prem with Bristol Rovers, it's a nice journey year, 2030. Haha, says Kazuki. Mark, could you please rank the top 5 centre-backs in the Premier League? No, Matan, I can't. People are trying to get me to do this on purpose, and I'm not stupid. TJ, welcome to the gold level. Because if it was before Sunday, Martinez and Varane would be in there. Whatever. But if I say them now, people will go, how can you say them? You lost 7-0. Well, my answer to that would be, one sunny day doesn't make us summer. And one thrashing at Anfield doesn't make them bad centre-backs. Who's on top so far, says Edward? Are we talking about sexual... No, we're talking about the match. PSG, I would say, are on top. I didn't think PSG would go through, but at the moment, they are doing very well. Could have had clearance off the line by De Ligt, and well saved. Well saved. Singing in the classes, music for your masses. Get no... My God, I can't speak. I can't speak. What's going on here? I don't know. This could be unless that's just my system. What I was gonna, well, I can tell the players are coming out for the second half here, but let me just whack this in the chat, and then you can check it for me. I mean, you don't have to check it for me. I was going to put it in the link anyway. So basically, if you've been watching the watch-alongs for the last 2 nights, we've been having a bit of banter, a bit of a chat. That's me on a 1. On tour, I'll be on a 10. Because I've had a drink, I'll have some better ideas to talk about. So if you like the idea of turning up to a live show and having a few drinks before and after and watching it and getting involved, I've dropped the link in the live chat because you don't need to be a United fan really. It's United stand on tour, but a lot of it's not actually going to be football related. If I'm honest, they're just going to try and have a bit of a laugh and stuff. I've dropped the link in the chat. Dublin is sold out both nights. We've still got Manchester and London. Interestingly, I thought there was about 50 tickets left for Manchester and 100 for London. I've just tried to buy... Well, I wasn't going to buy 10. I've just put 10 in for Manchester, and it said there's not enough. So I don't know whether Manchester's sold out. You might have to check if you want it, but it might be sold out. But there was some left in Manchester, and there is about 100 left in London. So if you want to get yourself to one of those shows in the international break as well, they're at the end of this month, be great to see you, and I think we'll have a cracking show because basically it's just going to be a little bit like this, but 100 times better, because there'll be certain things I can say about the flat thing, which I would have said in a tour situation. I would have said it, but I won't say it in front of 15,000 people on YouTube on National Women's Day. I'd be in trouble. 2 plus 2 is 4. United got battered because of the Irish guy, says JC16. Thoughts on Reims manager Will Still and his journey? Played Football Manager as a kid and used that as a template to manage professionally, says Robble. Well, I think Ben Foster's got him on his podcast soon, so I'm really looking forward to listening to that because I think it's a fascinating story. And thanks for this. Thanks for the gifted membership there from TJ. Appreciate it, and thanks everyone who's tuning in. How do you like your steak, Mark? Medium. Owen says, what's your top 5 restaurant main meals to have? Ooh, in at number 5, chicken tikka masala from an Indian restaurant. In at number 4, beef chow mein, sweet and sour chicken, egg fried rice and some prawn crackers. Number 3, lasagna from an Italian restaurant will do. Number 2, a proper good cooked roast Sunday dinner when you've got a hangover. Number 1, the best English breakfast you can find from a cafe with a big mug of tea. High 5. That's a winner. That's a winner. Don't get much better.